Welcome to Giant Cocktails, a podcast where two lifelong fans talk about the San Francisco Giants while drinking homemade cocktails. Now, here are your hosts, Ben and Matthew Henry.
Welcome to another episode of Giant Cocktails. I am your host, Ben Henry, alongside my brother, Matthew Bartholomew Theodosius Henry III. How you doing, Matty Barty Theo the Third?
That's Matty Barty Ted to you.
Oh, you go Ted. All right.
Ted, yeah.
My Barty Teddy.
Because, you know, the second, Matty Bartholomew Theodosius II went with Theo, and so I had to distinguish
Right,
myself.
to distinguish yourself. Otherwise, yeah, because nobody really likes it when you get all the way down to the end, and then that's when they're disappointed. It's only the third. Second one was always the best.
But, you know, anytime you've got a third at the end of your name, though, you can expect great things.
That's right, and that's good news.
It is good
That's
news.
good news. Yeah, because that's why I made you a third and gave you all of these extra names. Because, Matthew, well, you tell me, why is this good news?
Because today you texted me just randomly the name James Tibbs III.
Yeah, that's right. And
I was like, Aru? Like I had a
don't
little
know what
question
that
mark on the thing, and you texted it to me at 5:58 p.m.
That's right.
And I had no idea what you were talking about.
That's right.
But I have since learned that this was the Giants' first round draft pick.
That's right. The San Francisco Giants today, as we record this podcast, drafted your next favorite San Francisco Giants, James Tibbs III. And because this is baseball, I know none of you know who that is. None of you know who that is because, this isn't college football.
No.
This isn't basketball where you're all following the French youth leagues heavily because they all come from France now, apparently. No, this is baseball where nobody pays any attention until the draft, and then they're like, okay, see you in 3 years, kid.
Minimum 3 years, yeah.
Minimum. But in this case, that's kind of the timeline we're hoping for because you know what's interesting about Mr. James Tibbs III, Matthew?
He's a senior citizen.
In baseball prospect terminology, yeah. He's 21 years old. He just finished his junior year in college. He's coming out of Florida State University, the Seminoles. And he's an outfielder / first baseman. And I think the way I read his write-up was he's more heavily of a first baseman. In fact, they said he could only play one outfield position, left field at the next level because he's too slow.
Okay.
So they drafted a hitter.
Yeah. All right. Nothing wrong with that. On bonus is his rookie league teammates will love him because he can buy the beer.
That's right. He can get arrested for aiding and abetting in the delinquency of a minor, which is all legal up until he gives them the beer. Yeah. So anyway, for those of you who know what these numbers mean, he grades out as a 60 for hit, a 55 for power. He's a 40 for run. He's a 50 for arm and a 50 for field. And so overall, a 55 prospect. Those are actually pretty decent numbers.
60 for hitting is elite, man.
60 for hitting is very high. I think they only go up to 70.
Something like that.
Yeah. So that's very, very good. Those are very, very good ratings. He is a pure hitter prospect.
I like how Farhan's just not messing around anymore. He's like, forget all the metrics, man. Just one metric stands out. Can the guy hit?
That's right. You need a hitter, homegrown prospect hitter, period. Forget all the other garbage. And you know what's really interesting is that this is basically the Giants' entire draft.
That's right.
They don't have any more picks until 116th in the fourth round.
Well, because they have Matt Chapman and Blake Snell.
That's right. Because they signed Matt Chapman and because they signed Blake Snell, both, they lost their second and third round picks. So, and there's like a whole nother round of picks that happen before the fourth round. There are 16 or 17 different picks that happen that aren't part of the first, second, or third round, but they happen before the fourth round. They are the prospect promotion incentive picks, the compensation picks, competitive balance round A, and competitive balance round B.
I'm glad they make it so easy for fans to follow.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So simple.
Just call me when it's over. Tell me who we picked.
Exactly. And when I look at when I try to do like searches on when people were drafted in Baseball Reference, they just squish that all down into normal rounds. I don't know how they do it, but it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. All of that to appease those owners who need welfare. But anyway, Matthew, enough of that. We are now beginning the All-Star break. The first quote-unquote half of the season is over, which led me to my icebreaker question today for you.
Okay.
What is your ideal getaway?
So ideal for me would be someplace not too far so that you don't spend a lot of your travel time, your vacation time getting to said destination.
Right. Yeah, because this is a long weekend at best.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be there soon. I want there to be water, so either ocean or lakefront, but preferably ocean.
Nice.
Sun and a great view. So my ideal getaway is, and of course, with someone that you want to go away with, because it's no fun going by yourself. So that would be the ideal getaway. Take that someone special and get away for a few days on the coast where no one knows you, and you just can stroll the local streets and eat fine food and look at the beach and have nice cocktails. That would be my ideal getaway.
Sweet. All right. Well, then you and I, we're going to Kauai.
Oh.
We're going to have romantic walks. Well, maybe not romantic. We're going to have bromantic walks on the beach.
All right. And I know there'll be good cocktails, so that's good.
That's right. And we're going to get a hotel with a really, really nice pool. And we'll send pictures to any romantic partners we may have that would wish they were with us, but too bad for them because I didn't write it up in that way in this scenario.
No.
I like
Dana.
a fancy pool. Yeah. I like a fancy pool.
You like a fancy pool, even though the ocean is right there?
Yes. In fact, I like a fancy pool that's right next to the ocean.
Paradoxical.
My favorite hotel in Kauai is just like that. It's a big, gigantic swimming pool that is less than 100 yards away from the ocean. It's amazing.
Well, you can't get eaten by a shark in the pool.
That is true. That is true. Anyway, today is Sunday, July 14th, as we record this podcast. Matthew is very excited about it being July 14th.
July 14th is a good day.
Yeah, it's sort of close to
10 days to my birthday.
That's right. Yeah, okay. I thought that's what it was, but I was also like, it can't just be that simple. A very happy unbirthday to you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Anyway, your San Francisco Giants, not just yours, Matthew, but everybody's, went 3-3 this past week to bring their record at the end of the quote-unquote first half to 47-50. They lost a series to one of the more struggling teams in the AL by going 1-2 against the Toronto Blue Jays in frustrating fashion, and then went 2-1 against one of the better teams in the American League, against the Minnesota Twins, winning 2 out of 3. And I think it would be I would be remiss if I didn't mention to you, Bob, that Carlos Correa missed both Saturday and Sunday with an injury.
His ankle was bothering him.
His ankle. Yeah, they said it was plantar fasciitis. And first of all, plantar fasciitis is no joke, folks. It really effing hurts.
Close enough to the ankle to blame it on the ankle.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that you might be able to blame this on the ankle, because it often comes from lack of flexibility in the ankle or calf region. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe so. But yeah, that's how Carlos Correa did, Bob. So now that this is an important question. We are at the end of the first quote unquote half of the season. Where do our Giants stand in the standings? Well, folks, it's not great.
It's not even good, Ben.
No, it's not even good. They are fourth place, 9 games behind the Dodgers. I think, quite frankly,
that's a miracle that we're less than 10 double digits away.
Yeah, that has more than the fact that the Dodgers, I think, have just lost 5 out of 6. I don't know what they did today, and
their entire pitching staff is on the IL.
yeah, they got embarrassed by giving up a 5-run lead in the bottom of the 9th to the Tigers on Saturday.
Oh,
so yeah, I know. Actually, just when I saw that had happened, I went and just watched it on MLB.TV just for the fun of it. And you know what? The announcers really didn't disappoint. It wasn't Joe Davis because he was off doing his thing, so it was the ringer. But Oral Hershiser was there, and they both sounded really dejected. It was pretty great. I really enjoyed it. It was really cathartic, actually.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. But anyway, back to reality. In the wild card race, your San Francisco Giants are still stuck in the 3 games out of the last wild card spot. They are half a game ahead of the Chicago Cubs. And fading back is finally a third team who has decided they're bad, the Washington Nationals. Looks like they're done, folks. We have now 3 bad teams in the National League. The Marlins, the Rockies, and now the Nationals. The Cubs those poor little Cubs they're just paddling, keeping their little cute little heads above water, but hopefully those Cubs will drown. Wow.
That's cold, man.
I didn't mean that. You know what? I meant that. I meant that metaphorically when talking about a baseball team. I don't want baby bears to drown. That's so sad.
That is sad.
But I want these Cubs to metaphorically drown. Definitely do. But anyway, and the Giants are tied with Austin Slater's Reds. He is 1 for 8 in his Reds career so far. They are 1.5 games behind the Pirates. They are 2 games behind the Padres and the D-Bags. Hey, we know those guys. And they are 3 games behind the New York Mets. If you had told me at the end of April that the Mets would be in a better place at the All-Star break than the Giants, I would have been very, very worried. I am very, very worried. So that means there are 5 teams for the Giants to pass. And they have half the season left to do that, right, Matthew?
Not really.
No, not really.
It would if the All-Star game was actually halfway through the season.
That's right. It would be. That would be. There are 162 games in the season. So if you think there's a half of the season left, that would mean 81 games. But no. The Giants have to do all of that in 65 games. 65 games. To pull it together. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be summing up the first half. We're going to review some of the predictions that Matthew and I made at the beginning of the season because we figured if we don't do this now...
Oh, no.
Yeah, it would be really embarrassing to do it at the end of the season. So we
all right. We'll do it this time, but then we're never bringing it up again.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right. We're paying our debts now.
Okay.
And then we're getting out of this contract. We're breaking our lease on these predictions. And then we're just going to do an emotional check-in. We're going to check in on our feelings. We're going to have...
I've been wanting to talk about that for a while, so thank you.
Yeah. And I know not all of our listeners are men and not all of our listeners are old. But, I know that old men, we have a hard time talking about our feelings, so we're going to practice that today. And those of you in the audience, you can practice along with us as well.
Well, we could take a cue from Farhan, because he was talking about his feelings.
That's right. Farhan was talking about his feelings. Yeah, so we're going to get to all of that. But first, Matthew, you have to ask us our trivia question.
Okay. Well, today's trivia question is an homage to the Core Four, who were elected to the Wall of Fame this weekend. For the Giants. So go and look at their plaque out on Oracle Park, out on the walkway there. But so the question is, in 2012, the year of our second World Series of that decade, the 4 core all pitched in at least 60 games that year. However, there was also one other pitcher who also made at least 60 appearances. Who was that player?
I am going to go with. Okay, here we go. Travis Blackley.
Oh, did you just make that name up?
No. But it sounds
Okay.
like I did, doesn't it?
It does.
That's my pick. Travis Blackley.
All
Or
right.
Blakely.
We'll see
Blackley.
how
I'm going with Blackley.
we'll see how wrong Ben is at the end of the episode.
I'm not as wrong as you think.
All right.
Enough with the banter. Let's talk cocktails.
Woohoo!
What are you drinking, Matthew?
Well, thanks, Bob. So I created a cocktail the other day, frankly, just out of necessity because I'm still out of gin. And I wanted something that was a little summery. And so I created something that actually ended up tasting a lot like those popsicles you had as a kid that were like the long cylinder type that had like the pineapple and cherry flavor swirled together. I think they were called the Big Missile. And so that's what I named this cocktail. It's called the Big Missile. What's in a Big Missile? It's got 2 ounces of white rum, a half ounce of peach liqueur, 1 ounce of lime juice, 3/4 ounces of strawberry syrup, and 2 dashes of cherry bitters. You put all those ingredients into a cocktail shaker with ice, give it a good shake for 10 to 15 seconds until well chilled. You're going to double strain that into a chilled coupe glass and garnish with a lime wheel. And there is no pineapple in this drink, but it does taste a lot like those popsicles of our youth. So that's what I'm drinking today, Bob. The Big Missile.
That's a tasty cocktail.
It really is. I'm really excited about it. It's I think it's a winner.
What are you drinking, Ben?
Well, thank you for asking, Bob. That is very kind of you. Bob, today I am drinking a cocktail that I am calling Friar Tom. I want to emphasize that friar means one who fries, not one who prays. F-R-Y-E-R. Tom. And what does a Friar Tom have in it? Well, it is a gimlet riff. It has 1.5 ounce of Old Tom gin, 1/2 ounce of Benedictine, 1 ounce lime juice, and 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. You may even want to experiment with no simple syrup. This one's a little bit on the sweet side.
Or go 2 ounces of gin. I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true. You could up the Old Tom gin. That is definitely true. Combine all of those ingredients in a shaker with ice. Shake until chilled. Strain that into a stemmed cocktail glass and garnish with a lime wheel. And that is how you make Friar, as in one who fries, Tom. The Friar Tom.
That's so confusing because you got the Benedictine in there. You would think that it would be the one who prays.
That's what you would think.
But not Ben. Ben zigs when everyone else zags.
That's right. I do it the way I want.
That's a tasty cocktail.
Me and Farhan, smartest men in the room.
That's right. All right, let's get this over with, Ben. I'm looking at the next show notes, and it says, sum up first half / prediction review.
That's right. That's right. Look, we got to do it. We got to do it. This is the show, Matthew. We want you like, hey, I'm saying like, let's do a podcast. You're like, yeah. And I'm like, what should we do the podcast about? And he's like, I think we should do a podcast about the Giants.
I know. See, worst decision ever. Why didn't you just knock some sense into me? Like, you could have just been like, no, I think we should just do cocktails.
Right. Or movies. Or movies while we drink cocktails. Can you imagine that? Giant reels with Matthew and Ben. But no, here we are. And we thought
reviews are so much easier than predictions. I mean, predictions, like if everybody got them right, they wouldn't be interesting at all. Yeah, and we didn't get hardly any right, I don't think.
But predictions are only fun, Matthew, when they're totally, totally wrong. And we were pretty wrong. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go over our predictions. We made a number of predictions. The first one that we made, we're gonna gloss over this one, but we do have to touch on all of them because we did in our opening day episode called It's Opening Day. So hopeful, so naive, so stupid.
So full of hope.
So full of just pointless hope. We asked about, which Giant had the best chance of winning Rookie of the Year. And we both talked about, we talked about Jung-Hoo Lee. Okay, and look, that was a freak thing. It didn't happen. We're all disappointed about it. I don't think that we should really dwell on it, but Matthew, you predicted that he was going to have a good year with the bat, particularly in the batting average side. You said he was going to be
top 5 in batting average.
That's right. That's right. And the most likely candidate of the Giants to win the Rookie of the Year. I said that he was going to bat .420 and have a slugging percentage of 69%, so .690. And then I believe I said YOLO.
This is what happens when you drink before we do these things.
Yeah, I was pre-gaming that day, folks. I was well into my cups at this point of the show, and it only got better. So in that episode, we're going to save one category till the end, but I think the next thing that we moved on pretty high was wins. Should we sit with wins now, Matthew?
Yeah, let's get it over with. Get it over with.
Okay, so I did not realize that I was pretty smart. I said that the ceiling for this team is 88 wins. And I said, but their floor is 76. Like, I really feel like this roster is not as good as a lot of people say it is. And I feel like they could really be anywhere between 76 and 88. Kind of typical Ben crap. But I was drunk, and I said I wanted.
Editor's note: the Giants are currently on pace for 78.5 wins.
That's right. So, folks, I would really rather be have the Giants be good than have me be right. But hey, I like being right.
Okay, but you weren't really right because
I wasn't really right because that wasn't my pick, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No, because I said I'm going to be positive. I have to be positive, and so I went with the ceiling. I said 88 wins, and what did that do to you, Matthew?
I felt like I had to be true to my brand, and I had to be more positive than you. And so I think my gut, I said 87, but because you said 88, I said 89.
That's right.
And,
that's right.
And I may have even said something like, but their ceiling is in the 90s. So
you did. You definitely did. You said their ceiling was in the low 90s, which was always ridiculous, and now just looks
always ridiculous. I'm going to blame it on the booze too.
Okay. Are we going to fix these predictions now? Do you want to change your prediction? Or do you want to wait? We can.
Let's do the win one on Wednesday.
Okay. We're gonna redo the win ones on Wednesday
because I got to get out my calculator and my abacus, and I gotta figure that out.
And then you really have to have some really serious long talks with yourself about what is reality.
I do. I have to just say, Matthew, you can't be so positive.
That's right.
Be a realist. Okay.
That's right.
So channel your inner Ben and then subtract 5.
That's right. There you go. Okay, speaking of wins, Matthew, we predicted how many wins Logan Webb was going to have. And speaking of optimism and being drunk, I said 22.
Oh, my gosh. What were you thinking?
I was not thinking. I was definitely not thinking. He had 7, Matthew. He has 7 wins right now after 97 games, halfway through the season. He has 7.
And I said, my gut said 17. But I went with 19 just because I felt like I had to be positive. I had to stay on brand there. So I should
17 is still doable. 17 is still doable. And I think if they're going to make a big playoff run, they have to do that. I'm going to change my pick to 14 because I think he's going to pick up the pace a little bit. And that means 7 more wins.
All right.
So, all right. Okay, we have to have a serious talk here. The next pick
we have to have a talk about former closer Camilo Duvall.
Stop it. I mean, okay, I'm not saying you're wrong, but stop it. Okay. We did a prediction. How many saves is Camilo Duvall going to have? And he had 39 last year.
He had that many?
I think so.
Now I don't even feel so bad about my prediction. It was actually rooted in some reality. I thought I was just making that number up. Yeah,
well, and they were under 500 team last year, exactly. And so I was like, well, 46, and I'm a pro Camilo guy. You thought that was a little too ambitious.
I said 42.
You said 42. How many saves does Camilo have now? Because I think that's how many saves he's gonna for the rest of the season.
How many saves does Camilo have now?
I think he has 17. I think he has
man.
17. He blew one
man.
today.
Yeah, 17. Yeah. I don't even think he gets to 20.
I think 20 might be. I think 20 is probably reasonable because, he's going to get in a save situation or two somewhere along the line. But I think he's definitely lost his job. I think he's going to come back after the break and no longer be the closer. It's going to be Ryan Walker.
So how many saves does Ryan Walker have between now and the end?
20. He and Camilo are going to have the same number of saves by the end of the year. Sorry, he's 20 more. I don't know if he has any already. He might have one or two. I didn't really think to check that. But Ryan Walker, if he has any at this point, will have 20 more.
Ryan Walker does not have any saves. The only other person on the Giants who has a save is Tyler Rogers.
Wow. 20 saves would be a ton in 65 games. That's very hopeful of me. I don't know why I said that. Yeah,
I'm going to go with 15.
I'm going to stick with 20. You know what?
All right.
All right. The next thing we talked about, Matthew, was home runs by our new slugger. The guy that we got after JD Martinez told us to go pound sand. We're like, no, we're going to have Jorge Soler pound sand for us. And we predicted how many home runs he was going to hit. And you said...
I said 30.
That's right. And why did you say 30?
Because they haven't had a 30 home run hitter since Barry Bonds, Ben.
And so what does the optimist like you then just naturally assume?
He's gonna hit 30.
That's right. And that's why, and it's all those reasons. And because I'm me, I said 29.
Okay. All right. Well, I've learned my lesson. Okay. So Elliot Ramos has 14 home runs in something like 60 games or something like that.
Yeah, he has 14 home runs.
So how many home runs does Elliot Ramos end the season with?
He has 14 home runs in 60 games. If he plays every single game, that will be 65 games.
He would hit. I'm doing the math in my head.
I think the numbers say that if he played 65 games and he continues to hit him at this pace, I think he's going to hit 30. But you know what? No, he's going to hit 29 and lead the team.
I'm going 30. He's going to hit 30. What lesson did I learn? None.
You didn't learn anything. All right, Elliot Ramos, the new next great hope for the curse of Barry Bonds. Well, the lesser curse of Barry Bonds. All right, Matthew. So that we got a lot of stuff wrong.
Oh, that was painful.
We got all of those things wrong. But you know what? There was one thing we did get right. Because you asked, who is the first player, and we meant on the opening day roster, who is going to be DFA'd. And I said, well, I want it to be Michael Conforto because I don't like Michael Conforto.
Because you're an evil man.
I'm a horrible evil man, and that's right. And Michael Conforto has been at least serviceable this year. He's the Giants are better with him than without him. I totally get it. But that's what I said. And then you encouraged me to go with that. And you said that you wanted that to be that too. But then you said, but wait, who do you think it's actually going to be? And we had just talked about the rookies and which one had the best chance of being Rookie of the Year. And we had brought up Marco Luciano. And you said, when do you expect Marco Luciano to take away Nick Ahmed's job? And I'm remembering we actually predicted that. And you said June and I said August. We were both wrong in two ways. It was Brett Wisely who took his job away, and he took it away in July. But Nick Ahmed was the first person DFA'd, and that is who we both agreed was going to be the first person DFA'd. And that is what we got right, Matthew. So congratulations.
Woo! All right. Apologies to Nick Ahmed, but we got it right.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to take solace in the bad thing that happened to you, but there's just not a lot of good things to... I mean, anyway, moving on. Look, there were some good things that happened in the first half, Matthew. We got to talk about those.
Okay, yes. And one of them was Elliot Ramos's rise.
That's right.
And I mean, we've been waiting for this for a long time. Here's a guy that's been, perennially one of our higher ranked prospects for years, and everybody had written him off, including you,
especially me. Not including. I was in the front, man. I was leading the charge
you
on
were
the writing off.
alongside Gabe Kapler. You and Gabe were like
that's right.
co-pilots.
Me and Gabe were like, we were co-pilots of the anti-Elliot Ramos fan club. Yeah.
And so it's been really fun to see somebody like that who struggled last year, struggled to make an impact over his cups of coffee that he's had, finally come back and play not just well at an all-star level. That just doesn't happen, Ben. That doesn't happen where a guy gets called up a month into the season and then becomes an all-star. That's how well he's played. So I think we need to be excited about that. I mean, I think the Giants finally have a cornerstone piece of their outfield that will be there for years to come. And I'm excited about that. I think that's really cool. And, So I think if anything good came out of it, it was that. There was one other good thing that came out of that, though.
Totally. There's one other good thing that happened. I can't believe you haven't said it yet.
I should have just let off with that, shouldn't I?
You should have. He totally.
Brett Wisely has become our shortstop of the future.
Yeah, Brett Wisely.
Like he says, matter of factly.
Like obviously,
there was never any doubt. Obviously.
I mean, I've loved that kid ever since he hit those 2 home runs in February.
Boy, that Brett Wisely, he's got some power. He hit 2 home runs in Arizona in one game, man.
Yeah. I think I was actually the only person in Giants Nation that wasn't excited about that. Because I was like, it's February. Like, what are you all doing? Sit down. And then for a year and a half, he did nothing but prove me right. And thankfully, he has turned around and done nothing but prove me wrong. And again, like Ramos, he just keeps doing it, right? This is an extended thing. And the thing about him is he has a little bit of a penchant for the moment.
Yeah.
Like he's a little bit clutch. And I think that's one thing that this team has lacked immensely this year is clutch. I mean, they've had 9 walk-off wins, but besides that, no, I mean
that little detail.
That little detail. So yeah, I'm nothing but ecstatic over the fact about the rise of Brett Wisely. Especially when the things with Luciano haven't worked out. Not that we can write him off yet, but
no. After the trade deadline, maybe. Now, I'm looking at his stats from last year and this year. He's played in a slightly more games this year. Actually, plate appearances. He played in 51 games last year, 44 games so far this year.
Right.
But he has more plate appearances. 154 plate appearances this year. 131 last year. Last year he batted .175,
Oof.
231 on base, 267 slugging with a 38 OPS plus.
Oof.
Which 100 is league average, and he had a 38.
Like, okay, you can understand where I was coming from, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, who would have expected this turnaround? So this year, he's had 24 more at bats, hitting 285 with a 320 on base. 431 slugging with an OPS plus of 116. He's 16% above league average right now. And gives you so much confidence at the plate that we just didn't have before. And I could see why the Giants went with him because he's playing out of his mind. And yeah, I'm converted. Long live Brett Wisely.
Well, I mean, he's started to be more selective at the plate. And he's really stuck with that, particularly on the first pitch. And particularly at balls down. And it was really interesting because I was watching the postgame show today, and Randy Wynn had just mentioned that about the Giants in general against their approach against Paddock, the starting pitcher for the Twins, which is just sort of like, the secret to success is staying away from balls down in the zone because most often, especially guys who throw certain kinds of pitches like a changeup or, a sinker or whatever, if it's down in the zone, it's not going to be a strike. They split fingers. So many great pitches that end up out of the strike zone, but look like they're going to be in the strike zone. And he was just like, just lay off that stuff in the bottom of the strike zone, and you'll be better off than not. Because half the time, even if you do make contact, you're going to ground it, right? So So yeah, and that's the big change that he's made. He's really laid off those pitches. He's swinging at stuff that's up in his happy zones, and that's making all the difference. All right, so yes, I think the first half has really been about how everybody on the San Francisco Giants has disappointed us. It has been about the rise of Ramos and Wisely, but there is one other thing that I think has been a huge behind-the-scenes story, and that has been the saga of everybody's must-sign free agent, Blake Snell. Matthew, we need to talk about the Blake Snell saga.
Oh, you mean the guy that has thrown 2 one-hitters back-to-back? Over his last 2 starts?
Yeah, also the guy who had a 14 ERA before those 2 starts.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the
guy.
That's the guy. That's the guy I want to talk about briefly, because there was a period of time, Matthew, where we didn't want to talk about him at all anymore on this show. He was the player who shall not be named. He was the guy. We were just tired of it. We were tired of the. Oh, you wait until you see Blake Snell really show up. And, I mean, with 65 games to go, Matthew, I guess 70. With 70 games to go, the real Blake Snell finally showed up. Well into the second half, I might add. Because remember, 81 is half. 81 is half. Blake Snell showed up with 70 games left and gave us his first really good outing. I will also add, he still doesn't have a win. He is winless. He is winless in his season so far with the San Francisco Giants. And I think that kind of defines the Blake Snell saga, right? Like, this was supposed to be the guy that was really going to put us over the top. This was the cherry on top, the final piece to the puzzle. And you know, he and Chapman both signed after spring training started, but suddenly the Giants were the second busiest team in all of baseball during the offseason. And Blake Snell was a big part of that. And while Matt Chapman, I think, has been very serviceable, has met the real expectations that people should have of him, you know, like, because he's playing basically where his stats say he should, Blake Snell has not done that. And has been nothing but a disappointment up until these last 2 games. And what he has done, Matthew, is what? He's given us a little bit of hope.
A sliver of hope. Right now his ERA is 6.31, which is only a stone's throw behind Camilo Duvall's. And he's had 0 earned runs over his last 12 innings pitched, 2 hits, 3 walks, and 11 strikeouts during that time. This is the Blake Snell that everybody said. The second half Blake Snell has arrived.
Yeah.
And that's great news because we need it.
We definitely do. And I think that if there's anything that is going to make the second half is going to salvage this season. And I think that's really no other way to really talk about it than that.
Right.
It's going to have to be on the backs of somebody like Blake Snell. Now, the good news is, even though he hasn't, quote unquote, won either of those 2 games, the Giants have won both of those games, right? He has kept them extremely close or in the lead, and then they have been close enough to finish those games off. And they have won 4 of his meager starts, right? I think he's had 7 starts. And, you know, they've won 4. That doesn't sound right. Is he at that really?
I can tell you right now, he has had 8 starts.
Well, there you have it, Matthew. The Giants are 4-4 whenever Blake Snell starts a game. So I don't know what Ben's complaining about. What an idiot.
They're above 500. They're above their homeostasis.
That's right. That's right. Blake Snell's not the reason the Giants are under 500. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, maybe his lack of availability.
Yeah, his lack of availability, because Dalton Jeffries is definitely below homeostasis. Who was the other guy? The other guy. The Dalton Jeffries 2.0.
Spencer Howard.
Spencer Howard. There you go. The other Spencer. Spencer number 2. By the way, Giants have no Spencers on the team right now.
I know, but they do have a Luke.
They do have a Luke. Yeah. Cool. All right. So I think that kind of like sums up the way the first half has been. I think a lot of optimism followed by a lot of underperforming, especially from some key guys like Camilo Duvall, like Blake Snell, Wilmer Flores, Austin Slater. I don't call Austin Slater necessarily key, but big name in the history of the Giants, or at least the near-term history of the Giants. A lot of guys underperforming after having really, really high expectations, and then really, really just no help from our guys along the edge, from the Spencer Howards and the Dalton Jeffries and the Mitch Whites and the Nick Avilas and
throw out names.
Throw all those guys, right? Just not really anything magical. Not even like one or two magical games, except for Bivens.
Hayden Birdsong.
Hayden Birdsong. Yeah, I mean, that is true. That is true. I will say Hayden has been the one guy who has stepped up and maybe saved the team, right? Because I think if this team makes the playoffs, it's going to be by a game.
Yeah, no, they're not waltzing in. That's for sure.
And so, like guys like Ramos will have easily been the saviors, but then you start to look at every single win, and I think Hayden Birdsong is a huge part of that. But not enough of that really, and certainly not enough from our veterans and our big guys. But that's how the first half went. As we promised at the beginning of the show, Matthew, it is now time for us to talk about our feelings. How do we as fans feel about the state of the San Francisco Giants right now? But I know that talking about your feelings is hard. It's hard for me. I'm not good at it. I'm sure it's probably going to be hard for you. You're probably not good at it. So I thought the first thing we could do is we could look to an example.
Okay.
For somebody close to the Giants who has recently talked about his feelings and use that as an inspiration for us. And I thought that could be one Farhan Zaidi. Farhan went on to KNBR the other day. This is on this thing called radio. It's like a precursor to podcasts, except you can't listen to it when you want to. You just have to accidentally catch it on chance when you're listening.
Except now they record it and put it on podcasts.
That's true. They do that. They do that. But it used to be in the old days, you'd only listen to it when you're in your car because nobody listens to AM radio at home.
Nobody.
So he went on the radio and he talked about where the Giants are in terms of buying and selling at the trading deadline. And Matthew, Farhan is not feeling good.
No, he's not. Do you want me to read what he
Sure,
said?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us what Farhan said.
So Farhan tells KNBR, said, overall, it's been a real disappointment. I think we pushed a lot of chips in with this team. We're well over $200 million in terms of our payroll. I think we need the players to show us what the right direction is for us. And then he goes on to say, if we show signs of life and feel like we're a piece away from really making a run, that will dictate things. If we keep playing the way we did for the last 5 days, we're going to have to think about selling and seeing some younger players, because when I talk to Giants fans, that's what you hear about a lot. So wow, I don't think you could call out your team any more than that.
Nope, that's pretty direct.
The other thing is that this is the first time ever that Farhan has acknowledged the fans.
That is absolutely true.
I couldn't believe that he said that, because it's like, I think there was others like fans don't really understand how, this is put together, and he knows so much more than the fans do. But now all of a sudden
they'll show up if we win. That's what he said.
Maybe someone reminded him that baseball is an entertainment.
Yeah, and he finally got it. He finally got it, because you know what? Like half the Major League Baseball teams don't win, and only one team wins the World Series every year, and yet all of these people keep coming back. Why? Because the game is entertaining. But can you do things to make it less entertaining? Yes, Farhan, you can. and I think he's figured that out. Yeah. Like, go in, sign the big names, call up the young guys. Even if Kyle, whatever the guy, what is that guy? What is it? Kyle Haynes or whatever the guy who's the head of player development doesn't think they should. They have been very aggressive promoting people this year, both at the lower levels and into the major leagues than they prefer to be. And they signed a bunch of guys. And so I think you're right. And that is what the fans want. That's what we want, or at least that's what I want. I want the young guys to play. I don't want to watch old guys lose because I'd rather watch young guys lose than old guys lose. Right? And so, yeah, I think that is super, super interesting that's where we are. Yes, he called them out very directly.
So I think Farhan is feeling frustrated.
I think
he's feeling, and maybe with a little bit of anger.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I think the fans were, I bet you the players were a little bit like, oh, this guy doing all these things. Just go sign the good players. Well, he did.
Which he did.
He did. He got the good players. And you guys got the good players to come and reinforce you. And, yeah, I think he's frustrated. Okay, good. Good, Farhan. Good, Farhan. Good job. Good example, Farhan. That
yes,
showing
way to show us how to emote.
Okay, Matthew.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
Let me give you some insight into how I was feeling today.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So Blake Snell was pitching a perfect game for the first 6 innings.
He was. It was amazing.
And I admit I started to get a little excited. And,
yeah, we all did.
And I was like, wow, this could be so cool in the first, quote unquote, first half with a a perfect game. And that would just be the best thing and launch the Giants into the second half. And
yeah.
And then he gave up the hit but then he immediately got the double play and he finished 7 innings with facing the minimum. So I was still feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Camilo comes on in the 9th.
Well, first Tyler came in and
well, okay, yeah, Tyler, whatever. But
yeah.
Ninth inning rolls around, and I'm already being like, yes, all right. They needed this win. This is great. Then Camilo was Camilo, and he struggled.
Whoa, come on.
No, okay. I'm talking about my feelings. My feelings are my feelings.
That's right. You're right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Let me have my feelings.
Yeah, these are your feelings. Okay.
Right. So
you're
Camilo
right.
does his Camilo thing that he's been doing this year, and then at that point, I started thinking about tonight's show. And I was ready to submit my resignation, Ben. I was ready to be like, you know what? F this. You could just go talk about the Giants on your own. I'm tired of just being a Giants fan is tough, and having to like pay attention to every game so we can talk about it twice a week is just too much. It's just too painful.
Especially
and I don't want to do it anymore. And I don't want to, we're going to be 5 games under 500 and it's just going to be like, what's the point? And then they came back and won on a little league home run. I don't care. It was awesome. And I was feeling good. And they got a chance. And now I'm just totally confused.
Now you're just totally confused. It's okay to be confused. So thank you for sharing your feelings. I just want you to say your feelings are wrong about Camilo. That's not what he always does. So I hear that's what you're supposed to tell people when their feelings are wrong.
You'd be a terrible therapist. Dr. Phil.
Your feelings are wrong. No, first of all, no, you're absolutely right. I was feeling the same way. We've had too much of that out of Camilo. He walks the first guy. He has one bad thing happen to his cutter, and so then he absolutely just goes away with it. And it seems like he's not even throwing his other fastball, the four seam. He's not even throwing that anymore. And then he just goes all sliders, and it's too much of the slider, and then they just sit on the slider, and he puts one right down in the middle, and then guys hit it hard. And the hardest hit ball all day was one of his sliders that was right in the middle of the zone. And it was because you could just sit on his slider. And he's in a bad way right now. But yeah, you're right. If that had been a loss, it would have been really, really demoralizing. I will point out that it was Yaz who saved the day.
It was.
And it seems like whenever somebody saves the day, like at those most desperate times, it seems like it often is Yaz. Although I wouldn't have been surprised if it had been Elliot. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you're borderline. You're on the fence is what you're saying. This team's been confusing.
It is confusing, and I'm confused. How am I supposed to feel? And I want to be excited, but then they can't even get to homeostasis, and it's been a wild ride, and I'm ready for the Giants to be good.
Yeah,
I just want them to be good for a little bit. Can they just be good for a little bit?
Yeah,
that's all I want.
Okay, and that's it. We're done. All right, good job. Okay,
right.
let's wrap this up, and that's the end of the show.
Wait.
Wait,
Seems
what?
to me somebody didn't share their feelings.
Oh, that's all right. I'm good.
Come on, Ben, let it out.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Speak to me, buddy. This is me. This is your brother talking.
I said I'm fine.
I'm sensing it's not really fine.
Yeah, okay. You want to know what my feelings are?
I do. Let it out. Let it out, Ben.
I'm angry. That's right. I'm a man, and I'm angry. Is that allowed? Because I feel like that's not allowed anymore. Like I can never be angry. Like, oh no, oh God, the man's yelling, and so now my eyes have got to well up, and then I got to be like, oh God, and so they want us to share our feelings, but we can never share our anger. I'm angry, Matthew. I'm angry at the San Francisco Giants, the players, Camilo, my bro, Wilmer, Tyro. I'm angry. I'm angry that Matt Chapman does all the good things, but he still made twice as many errors as he usually does. I'm angry.
Let it out.
I'm angry that Farhan finally went and did all the things that we said he should be doing. And then what do the players do? They prove him right by sucking. They take all that money and then they just suck. I'm angry. But you know what, Matthew? You want to know why I'm angry?
Why?
Because I'm actually sad.
Yeah.
But I'm a man and I'm not allowed to be sad.
You could be sad. It's okay to be sad.
The only emotion they let us have is anger, and then when we're angry, they tell us that we're too angry all the time, and that we shouldn't share our emotions. But really, it's because I'm sad. I'm sad that our Giants are 3 games under 500, and every day I have to think. I know this team's not good, but I have to pretend like they could be better. And then and then people are like, oh, Ben's always a pessimist, and I just I'm supposed to apologize for being smart. And so I'm sad.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. You were right. You're right, Ben. Sorry. It's a sad state. By all means, let it out, buddy.
I'm sad, and being sad makes me angry because I'm not allowed to be sad.
Oh, it's a conundrum. All right.
Wow, I feel better.
On that note.
Yeah, all right.
I think it's time for the trivia question.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
All right. This
I'm
never
good.
happened.
I'm good.
Okay?
Yeah, okay. Okay.
All right. Don't worry. I'll fix that in editing.
Fix what? You're going to get rid of all my sadness in editing?
Do my best.
Okay. All right. Sweet.
All right.
I feel much better now.
Folks, I'm not getting rid of it in editing. Okay. All right. Anyway, today's question was about the core 4. Right. And all 4 of them appeared in at least 60 games in 2012. But one other pitcher also made at least 60 appearances. Who was it? You said you made up some name.
I didn't make up a name. I said a real name. A real name. A real name. God damn it. Sorry. I think it was something Blackley. Yeah, just go with it. That's what I said. I said something Blackley.
You said Travis Blackley.
Travis Blackley.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Shit, you did say that.
I said Travis Blackley.
who appeared in 4 games in 2012.
See?
For the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah,
He's got a World Series ring. That man
Travis
does.
Blackley has more World Series rings than I do.
All right, but sadly that is not the answer because he only appeared in 4 games. The answer is Clay Hensley, who pitched in 60 games in 2012.
What?
He was originally drafted by the Giants in 2002, was traded to the Padres in 2003 for Matt Hergis, and then he played for the Padres and Marlins before signing as a free agent prior to the 2012 season, which ended up being his very last season in the majors. Clay Hensley was the 5th wheel of the core 4.
Wow. Okay, so what you're telling me is that there's a 5th guy of the core 4. It's like the 5th Beatle.
Yes, exactly. Clay Hensley's the 5th Beatle. Yes.
Do you think he's been paying attention to any of this?
Oh, I'm sure he has. Yeah, of course. But he was only that 1 year, so that's why he didn't get.
Yeah.
He also pitched pretty mediocrely for those.
I
60
know. I was
games,
going to say there's a reason why they don't call it the core 5. There's a reason why we don't remember his name. I was as likely to remember that name as I was Travis Blackley, who, by the way, pitched in 82 games total in his career. So that was 5% of his career.
All right, folks. Well, there is no upcoming opponents.
That's right.
We are on the All-Star break. Before we come back at you on Thursday, we'll have learned the fate of Logan Webb and Elliot Ramos's All-Star game. Will they be like Camilo last year and come out victorious, or will the ghost of Atlee Hammaker show up and take them? Who knows? We'll find out. Anyway, that's all we got today, folks. Don't forget to follow us on the socials at Giant Cocktails on Twitter and Instagram and Threads and Mastodon. And I know I haven't been as active on there. We've had some technical difficulties on the recipes and the fact that I've just been really lazy. But I'm going to be better at it, and I'm going to get those recipes up going forward. So follow us there. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and rate us on the podcast listener of your choice. It really does help the show. Also, we're also on YouTube, so go on over there and give us a follow. You can be one of the first to do so, and that would also really help the show. Ben, it's been really good talking to you. I'm glad you let out your feelings tonight. I'm sure that was very cathartic for you.
It was okay.
And here's to a better second half. Cheers, my friend.
It's only 65 games. It's not a half. Cheers, Matthew. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Giant Cocktails Podcast. Until next time, bottoms up.
It's a baseball half. It's a baseball half.
It's a baseball half. It's a bunch of BS is what it is. Atlee Hammaker can't have a ghost, man. The man's still alive.
Oh, okay. Well, he's dead in baseball terms.
Oh, Jesus.
When was the last time you saw Atlee Hammaker?
I don't know, but it's probably been since
Exactly. He's dead in baseball terms.
Okay.